Shades of Benga Online presents highlights from the story of Kenya's popular music in the 70-year period between the end of the Second World War and 2016. The series draws its inspiration from the definitive book Shades of Benga by Ketable Music.
Hello and welcome to Shades of Benga web series. Tonight we'll be discussing music and the disciplined forces, the army, the police, and the prisons. To play us in is Maroon Commandos performing Christina. My name is Alo Obala.
Christina dada, uko wapi? Nakutafuta sikuoni. Nimejaribu sana kukutafuta, na kila nifikapo sikuoni, lakini kwa bahati umenikumbuka, kwani barua uliyoituma nimeipata. Sasa nakuomba unieleze siku ambayo utafika. Sasa nakuomba unieleze siku ambayo utafika. Christina dada, uko wapi? Nakutafuta sikuoni. Nimejaribu sana kukutafuta, na kila nifikapo sikuoni, lakini kwa bahati umenikumbuka, kwani barua uliyoituma nimeipata. Sasa nakuomba unieleze siku ambayo utafika. Sasa nakuomba unieleze siku ambayo utafika. Christina dada, uko wapi? Nakutafuta sikuoni. Nimejaribu sana kukutafuta, na kila nifikapo sikuoni, lakini kwa bahati umenikumbuka, kwani barua uliyoituma nimeipata. Sasa nakuomba unieleze siku ambayo utafika. Sasa nakuomba unieleze siku ambayo utafika. Siku gani dada utakuja nikungoje? Sitesheni, ningekuwa na uwezo ningekutumia nauli ya ndege ili ufike haraka. Nimekukosa mama, nimekukosa siku nyingi. Nimekukosa mama, nimekukosa siku nyingi. Siku gani dada utakuja nikungoje? Sitesheni, ningekuwa na uwezo ningekutumia nauli ya ndege ili ufike haraka. Nimekukosa mama, nimekukosa siku nyingi. Nimekukosa mama, nimekukosa siku nyingi. Somebody, hey, with somebody, hey, somebody.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Rono Brown. Kwa guitar rhythm. Wapi makofi ya Rono Brown? Thank you. Kwa raha zetu situweke mikono juu, tupige makofi mawili peke yake namna hii, twende. Kila mtu. Thank you. Endelea kuenjoy mziki wa kubwa Maroon Commandos.
Tonight we are joined by a legendary panel, and I will just start introducing from my left. First off, we have Topi Liambila. Topi Liambila is a media consultant with eons of communication prowess under his belt, with training from the USA, UK, and Kenya. He is an award-winning commentator with experience at KBC and KTN. He has also worked with the BBC London, Al Jazeera, and Vox Africa TV London. He currently resides partly in the UK, where he pursued his further studies. Topi, karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Next on our panel is Agnes Wanjiru Munyiga. Agnes is a retired senior superintendent of the Kenya Police. She is formerly of the police band as a lead singer, composer, and played the flute also in the main band. She performed on national days and events alongside Maroon Commandos and other famous groups. She attained supervisory rank and worked in various directorates of the Kenya Police till her retirement. Agnes, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Last but not least on our panel is Charles Mike Wafula. Charles Mike Wafula played with the Kenyan Prisons Band for 20 years and acted as a deputy bandmaster for 5 years until his transfer to Kitale Prisons Command as a talent development and wellness nurturing program director, where he sits currently. Charles, karibu sana. So I think this is a very well-seasoned panel because we have all the experience from the Kenya Police. We have those who used to enjoy the music of these bands. So I think we'll get a lot of insight in this. So I would want to start with Agnes. Agnes, you have been right in the heart of the Kenya Police Band, and you have basically served with the Kenya Police Band all through your career in the force. So could you just maybe give us an idea of how you happened to be in the Kenya Police Force? How did you join the force?
Thank you. I joined the Kenya Police Band in 1973
as a constable. And by the time I retired, I had once been a deputy director of music briefly before I was transferred to other sections. I loved my days in the police band because I loved music, and the appreciation we were getting from our fans made us get through and be a very popular band. We were mentored by the international singer, Mr. Munyiga, who later on became the director of music and the first director to attain the rank of an assistant commissioner of police.
Charles, you are still actively a police officer as you do your music. So when you were joining the force, were you joining as a musician or as an officer first? What came first? How did that work?
Actually, what came first, I joined the force just joined the force like others. First, I went for recruitment. I was taken. Then we went for the training, the initial 9-month course. Thereafter, while in the training is when I was spotted, while I was entertaining my fellow trainees. That's when I was spotted. Then I was told, okay, man, you seem to be very good in this. What can you be one of us? That's the band master by that time. Then he told me, we are going to select members in the band. So what we are going to do, when the day comes, we shall call upon you. That's how I was taken to the band.
Obviously, there were a lot of these bands. We had so many bands that came from the forces, either prisons or police or the army. And some of them, as you're having a discussion before, like the police band that Agnes belonged to would only play in certain classes or in certain events. But Topi, here, you can tell us about the other bands that would play and you did here.
You see, growing up in the 70s was very interesting. And, as schoolboys, we used to go to the agriculture shows and we loved music. Right from school, we had, and the entertainment bands those days were mostly armed forces bands. And, for this, I'm saying Maroon Commandos, there was also the Scarlet from Lynette, and then, of course, there was the Prisons Band, AP. But the bands that really, caught us were the armed forces with Maroon Commandos. We knew, for us in school, we knew all those guys. Haber Kivoto, Kibe. We knew them by name, and because it was really good. That was the big thing. When you went to any showground, Nairobi showground, the place to go for young people was Namis, and Namis was Maroon Commandos. When you went to Kisumu show, agriculture show, Nakuru, all those Mombasa show, all of you trekked to the armed forces bands. So that's what I remember.
Was there a healthy competition between the bands? Because now you see everyone wanted to have this chance to play, and of course these chances came some kind of payment. So was there a competition? And if it was there, was it healthy?
Yeah, very much. I remember. Sometimes back when we were performing at the showground, at the pavilion, I remember meeting the Utawala. They wondered how we entered the pavilion. They wanted to know why and what happened. Because they were the band that we knew, they were performing at the pavilion, while the Maroon Commandos were playing where?
Namis.
Namis, yeah.
Namis, yeah.
So they wondered how Prison's band
coming to the pavilion,
where the president is, the guests, and the police band. So that's how the competition was. So they wanted to know, what are these guys doing? They wanted to know further. So when I was playing my lead guitar here, playing a certain song, they really wondered. So that's how it made us, the competition become high. Because after that, when there's a challenge, we go back to the drawing board to see what and where did we go wrong.
But it was a healthy competition.
Very healthy.
It fueled
automatically when you meet us there, hey man, that lead guitar, that music, hey, the combination was
good.
fantastic.
Yeah,
that's how it happened.
So Agnes, there seems to be a couple of police bands. There's the brass band and there's a dance band. Could you just differentiate those two for us?
Yes, the dance band is the one which plays this normal music, the danceable ones. But the military band is the one which plays like the military music, the marching band. And normally, like the police band, mostly is wherever the president is, that's where it goes to entertain people and play the national anthem. And during passing out parades, and even entertaining members of the public.
So on that note, because of these two bands, could both of them perform outside the duties of the army in terms of, could they be hired for events? Could the brass band be hired for events? Or was it only the dance band that could be hired out for events?
Yeah, by the time I left, the dance band was being hired by members of public.
But the
it was
brass
open,
band?
yeah.
And the brass band?
Not often because mostly it's under standby because of any occasion of His Excellency the President, because of the national anthem. But with proper arrangements with the Office of the Commissioner of Police, nowadays it's not Commissioner of Police, it's a Deputy IG and maybe IG. Maybe it's possible, but I'm not sure. But during our days, it was rare.
So let me just go back to you, Charles, because you were in the band, but you still had your career outside the band in music. So how would that work? Was it allowed? Was it something that everybody knew and they were okay with it? Or was it something you had to do, discreetly? You had to hide and do that?
Actually, this is what we call side hustle.
Okay.
After 5, you can do anything as you want.
Yes.
So what I was to do, I went out, mingled with other bands, like the Maroon, the police band, where they were performing, the Utawala, maybe the other bands like the Willow, Jaminazi. I used to perform with them. So those are what we call side hustles.
Ni adui mkubwa wa ujenzi wa taifa, kwani hicho kiini hasa kisababisha choja. Ewe ndugu yangu, amka kumekucha, kamata jembe na panga, twende shamba. Hata wewe mwanangu, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda shule. Hata wewe karani, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda kazi. Vivu ni adui mkubwa wa ujenzi wa taifa, kwani hicho kiini hasa kisababisha choja. Ewe ndugu yangu, amka kumekucha, kamata jembe na panga, twende shamba. Hata wewe mwanangu, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda shule. Hata wewe karani, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda kazi.
Wacha uvivu, chapa kazi, chapa kazi.
Vivu ni adui mkubwa wa ujenzi wa taifa, kwani hicho kiini hasa kisababisha choja. Ewe ndugu yangu, amka kumekucha, kamata jembe na panga, twende shamba. Hata wewe mwanangu, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda shule. Hata wewe karani, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda kazi.
Uvivu
Ni adui wa ujenzi wa taifa,
jiepushe
na uvivu tujenge tujenge taifa.
Mwanangu
Kumekucha, amka wende shule,
elimu
ndiyo msingi wa maendeleo.
karani
Kumekucha, amka wende kazi,
jiepushe
na uvivu, tujenge taifa.
uvivu,
Ndiyo adui na ujenzi wa taifa.
jiepushe
Na uvivu, tujenge taifa.
ndugu yangu
Kumekucha, amka wende shamba,
jiepushe
na uvivu, tujenge taifa.
mwanangu
Kumekucha, amka wende shule,
elimu
ndiyo msingi wa maendeleo.
karani
Kumekucha, amka wende kazi,
jiepushe
na uvivu, tujenge taifa.
uvivu,
Ndiyo adui kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
jiepushe
Na uvivu, tujenge taifa.
Wacha uvivu wewe. Chapa kazi, chapa kazi.
Ha! Wewe unakumbuka wapi ukisikia hivi wewe? Asante sana legendary. Diwani! Moses Wekesa. Thank you.
That was Uvivu Mbaya, performed by Maroon Commandos. Topi, I just want you to maybe give us a few names here or there of these bands that really stood out for you during your school days that perhaps we can just talk a bit further about.
Okay. Away from the discipline forces, I mean, when we used to go to like the agricultural shows, so bands like Mazembe, We had bands like Bwambe Bwambe. Like in Kisumu, where, I used to, because we were schooling those sites, we had, Air Band too, and, who were playing there. And we also had High Fives. And I'm very sure, and, we used to have also another, a TV program called Jiburudisheni, which also used to highlight those bands. I mean, like in the 70s, you'd be lost for choice, especially in the showground. Mm-hmm. The showground, these guys had opposing, the disciplined forces had their own tent, like, for instance, Maroon Commandos permanently were at Namis. But then occasionally they would bring other bands also. The other people, like I remember D.S. Njoroge used to also have his place where he used to bring bands from outside. And of course, the question was, you're still, is the same people that were coming to dance, the same students and the same people, local people. So there was a push and pull there, but there wasn't like a direct challenge, like, they would probably have a problem with each other.
Right.
No, it's just that,
a healthy competition.
They came there, and they were also playing different music. The Congolese were bringing more rumba, and like Maroon Commandos, they were playing some music, with Swahili, which was very interesting.
Right. So we all know there were so many bands from the forces, but a lot of times they just group together. We don't know where they're from, and therefore, even when you speak about competition, it might not make sense. So could you give us an idea of maybe where these bands are from, and what's the difference between Maroon Commandos and and the Scarlets, and how it worked in terms of performances?
A very interesting question. The biggest bands, from the forces, which anybody would remember, were two: Maroon Commandos, so based in Nairobi,
that's
and
Langata Barracks. Yes.
Langata Barracks,
Okay.
yes, and then there was Scarlets. Scarlet were from Lanet. Yeah. Those were the biggest bands. There was also a band called the Green Rangers, who did not, of course, live up to the level of Scarlet and Maroon.
Yellow Wagoners.
But the Yellow Wagoners. Those are from Kahawa.
Kahawa Barracks, yeah.
So the colors actually belong, because that's Maroon, then Scarlet, those are colors, yeah?
Yes.
So the colors were actually belonging to a certain barrack, yeah?
Yeah.
So because Langata, the color was maroon, and Lanet, the color was scarlet. In the police, it wasn't like, we did not have those variations. We did not have many bands. There was just one Kenya police band, or rather, there were police, yeah.
But we had one.
And even prisons, there was only just one band, and even like administration, AP also had, and AP, I think theirs was based at the training school, yes?
Yeah. Yeah, even the police band had one based at the police college.
At the police college.
And later on also,
Oh, okay.
And then later on, the GSU also.
So the police band was different from the AP Utawala band?
Correct.
Yes, so also as well in the police we had the different sections. Yes?
Yes.
As we speak about this topic, it's impossible to go ahead without mentioning certain legends, let's call them legends, that's what they really are, who really molded and shaped the music in the forces as it is today. So, Agnes, I would like you to just give us a brief history and description about Gideon Munyiga.
Gideon Munyiga, I met him in 1973 when I was recruited as a musician. After His Excellency, the late President Jomo Kenyatta, asked the Commissioner of Police, then Mr. Hinga, why the band doesn't have women. And he said that if Mama Ngina has lady bodyguards, I also want ladies in the band. And that's how we got recruited.
So can you just tell us, because he composed so many songs that a lot of us know today, could you just tell us a few of those songs? We see probably if the audience is aware of these songs.
The Kenya Ni Taifa was not his composition. It was done by a choir from Mombasa, War School, and because the late president liked that song so much, they had now to change it into march band. Okay, he sang the words, but the main band did the instrumental one. So he redid the Kenya ni Taifa, and also he sang some songs to mentor young men, and it was called Husia kwa Vijana. It also did very well. And Harambe Moto Moto is the one which was very popular, and Mzee loved it so much. And we also have a photo where the president just walked to the stage at State House and promoted him to an inspector of police. And that's where now he started shining highly. And he went on to become the first director of music, to be promoted to the rank of an assistant commissioner of police, and that's why I just get into SSP, senior superintendent of police. But from then on, nowadays, even the commissioner, the directors of music get to an assistant commissioner's rank.
Did Gideon join the force as a musician or as an officer first? Could you just give us a bit of background on him?
As a musician.
As a musician, okay.
Yeah, he was a musician before he joined the Kenya Police Band.
So was he recruited?
Yes, he was recruited. He was performing with the Shoeshine Band, Butter Band. Yeah. And that's how now the commissioner of police then poached him from there.
We definitely have other personalities, and maybe Topi, you'd want to give us maybe one memorable personality who was in the forces.
The armed forces, of course, had their big guns. We remember people like when we used to go, of course, everybody knew who Abel Kivoto was. Everybody knew who David Kibe was, because those are the people that were composing again, and they were also setting songs. I mean, okay, fine, like, Gideon Munyiga, those are the stars. But I would like to bring up something. There was also like some of the musicians who were being recruited as young people. Maybe David Munyiga was but there was a time when one top African, Kenyan musician called Ocheng Kabasede.
Oh, okay.
And he had, of course, his own band. And all of a sudden he had joined the army. And it was very interesting to, see him in the army fatigue, the colors of your scarlet, he joined scarlet. And he was a great musician, and he had been already an established musician. He was a musician who was already playing music, playing in clubs and so on, and then he joins the army.
Topi, it seems like it wasn't only musicians that were budding from the forces. We had sports personalities, and a lot of them. So could you tell us about that?
It came a time whereby I think the government wanted to humanize, if I would use that, the forces. Because traditionally, people, when they looked at the police, these were like, they're like the enemy. So things like music actually made them, they feel like, they are part of us. But then away from that, a very interesting thing that, bring up about sports, I would say, like especially in Kenya, most of the athletes, the boxers, you name it, footballers, like, for football, we had, Scarlet had a football team, Kahawa had a football team, Engineers Thick had a football team, Nanyuki had a football team, it used to be called Baruti, but when they beat up, one of the referees, I think that's when they were banned. But especially sports, when you talk about sports in this country, you cannot you cannot miss to bring up the forces.
So we do have Olympians in the force as well.
Of course. All this, Kipchoge Keino, was a policeman. All these guys, Ben Jipcho. Yeah. Ben Jipcho, I think, was in prisons or in police?
Prisons.
Ben Jipcho in prisons. People like, today, David Rudisha, the world champion, police. So you see, the forces provided what you'd say a nurturing ground for their Kenyan sportsmen.
Yeah. And Charles, especially for you, who runs a talent nurturing program,
Yeah.
as a director of such a program, and you have benefited from such an initiative. Do you think that the program is essential?
Yeah, it's very essential. First and foremost, you see, I handle prisoners. Those are guys from the community. So when they come there, as part of rehabilitation in prisons, I first identify them. Then I identify their talents, and I nurture them. So when they come back to the society, they become very useful. So they forget about whatever behaviors they had.
And you've spoken about so many of these bands, the Maroon Commandos, the Yellow War Gunners, and AP Utawala. Are there any of them who are still as prominent as they used to be? Or is this a thing of the past we're talking about?
I think they have slowed down a bit. I mean, maybe Agnes here would tell us. Yeah, I mean, they are not as vibrant as they were in the 80s, 90s.
Just like you have said, me too, it's not as it was with Kifoto. And the police band also, especially the Kenya Police Band #1, the one we have now, it's good because some of them, their parents were in Kenya Police Band #1, like the Deputy Director of Music. His father was a rhythmist and a top singer with the Kenya Police Band #1. And so the music is good, the band is good.
And actually, just speaking of generational talent, Agnes, some of us may know or may not know, but from your home stems artists and musicians who we are all very familiar with. So could you just maybe give us an idea of, what your kids do in the music industry and who they are? Because some of us might not be aware.
I have 2 children. One is Gideon Munyiga. She's the eldest, and the other one is Mark Munyiga. He's a musician, but Christian music. He loves rock music, and so he's a musician, but also a military officer. He's a soldier.
So he serves in the force as well.
Yeah.
So this seems to be a family career at this
Apart
rate.
from Sheila.
Apart from Sheila.
Yes.
She stands out. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to just bring this discussion and crack it wide open for everybody to know and understand the contribution of the forces when it comes to music and the arts, basically. To play us out is Maroon Commandos performing Charonyi Niwasi. I have been your host, Alo Obala.
Watu hoye! Watavita damu logu blogu wa mwasinga Siade komanda Eri manyanga enyocha msingi Eka kinetie la mseniliwe Ila goye pande chini pinana Uwandikianga barua
journey through Shades of Benga continues. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our social media platforms for the next episodes. Shades of Benga, the book, is available in all leading bookstores in Kenya. Get your copy for this and other stories in full.
Mambo vipi?